Pazmino, I'll be your host for tonight. I'm the co-chair of the HCRO. I'm a trustee in the village of Glen, and I'm the owner of this humble establishment. So I hope everybody, any complaints, come see me. We'll take care of it. So we got a lot of speakers tonight, so we're gonna make this quick. I don't wanna hog the stage, okay? But before we get into that, I want everybody's attention, if everybody could just face the stage, because we gotta listen, because there's gonna be a lot of important information given. And there are things that we gotta take home and spread. Remember, we are the grassroots campaign here in Homer Township, and Will County for that matter. Everybody, let's settle down. Everybody settle down. We gotta be quiet for the people on the stage. Not me, just everybody else that's coming in. So, we're gonna start today with the national anthem by Raquel Mitchell. Raquel Mitchell, please come up to the stage. Oh, you're not? Oh, never mind. Actually, never mind. Are you good? You good? Good. You want? Not to put you on the spot. Come on down. All right, we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Just mixing it up, keeping you guys on your toes. You ready? Everybody face the flag. Yogi, give me the flag, Yogi. Here we go. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So ladies and gentlemen, just like the good patriots that we are, we incorporate the following in everything that we do in our lives. Family and God. That's right. Those are the main things. So, Father Loya, please come up and enlighten us with a few words. Everybody give it up for Father Loya of Annunciation Church.
Thank you, I'm from Annunciation Church. It's right here in Homer Glen. I suspect that most of you might be familiar with the Lord's Prayer, the Our Father. Other than the word Father, the most important word in that prayer is the smallest. You know, it's like a computer chip that runs a whole machine. The word is as. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done. On earth as it is in heaven. In other words, that prayer is asking God to help us make on earth what is in heaven. And that's where politicians come in. That is what should govern our governing. It's not utopia. That's for the left. As we can see, that brings hell on earth. Our place, those who serve the government, is to bring heaven on earth. After all, what else do you base your politics on? Your personal opinion? A whim? An ideology? The latest trend? Your ambition for your own career? What do you base your ambition, your politics on? If not the irrefutable truths of God. So let us pray. O Lord, the Master and God, have given us all good things. Left nothing undone till you brought us to heaven. Look now, O Lord, on your servants, Jeff, Annette, Raquel, Frankie, Judy, Dan, Kathi, Anthony, in a special way, Stephen. Grant their good petition as is your goodwill. Grant them the virtues of wisdom, prudence, and fortitude, and grant them all long life, health, and salvation. Hear our prayer, O God, in your own words, which you gave to us. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, now and ever and forever. Amen. If Donald Trump runs again, maybe he should put on his red hats, not MAGA, but MHEA. Make heaven on earth again. Thank you. God bless you.
I've always said it that when Father Tom speaks, no matter what the situation is, you know everything's going to be all right. All right, next up to the stage, if we could have the distinguished gentleman, Mr. Scott Casper, candidate for the 6th District. Give it up for Mr. Scott Casper. Thank you. Good to see you. Thank you. Well, good evening, everyone. I tell you, that was a powerful prayer, and I'll probably not think of the Lord's Prayer probably very differently from this point forward. I want to thank Steve and Anthony for inviting me here tonight, and this is a tremendous crowd, and really a testament to what you've built here, Steve. Thank you. I also want to thank Mr. Brady for giving me this, which I'll give to my wife. He actually didn't want to give it to me, and I guess he was assuming my gender. But I do too. I use them too. That's right. But it's a fantastic idea. Anyway, for those students who don't know me, my name is Scott Casper. I'm an engineer. I'm a lawyer. I'm a father of 2 children, 9 and 13. And a husband, 15 years. We live in Orland Park, and I'm running for the 6th Congressional District. You may be wondering why I'm here. So this is the 1st Congressional District. Our friend Jeff, we hope, will win this district. That's right. So the 6th Congressional District is the other side of Wilcook Road. Heads all the way up to Beverly, Mount Greenwood area. And
I hope to be the next congressman of that district. But, there are a number of candidates in my race. I am to put it succinctly, I'm the most conservative candidate in my race. I'm the pro-family, pro-life, pro-law and order, pro-Trump, pro-America First candidate in my race. And I'll tell you what, as I talk to the voters, and I've talked to thousands of voters the last few months as I've been working across my district, and you know what? People are ready for a change, and people are ready for conservative ideas. And the ideas that Steve has campaigned on and led people the past several decades, these are the ideas, there's nothing new about it. These are the ideas that work. These are the ideas that can bring Cook County to success, to law and order and prosperity. My father was born in Latvia. He and his family, they escaped Latvia. They escaped communism. They came here. They came to my district. My father grew up outside of Inglewood, actually, and met my mother, who lived in Beverly. And not too much long after that, they raised my family, first in Oak Lawn. They kept going west. I went to high school out in St. Charles. My wife of 15 years, Beth, who's home with our children tonight. She grew up in Lamont, so we settled back out here. It's a wonderful area. And you know what? It's worth fighting for, and Illinois is worth fighting for. And I'm running for Congress because of my children, because I look at the lives that they have. I look at the life that I've had. It's been wonderful, and I want those opportunities for my children, for your children, grandchildren, for the next generation. And at the end of the day, that's why I'm running for Congress, to bring new life to the American dream for all of us. So, thank you for having me here, and I look forward to meeting all of you after this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Scott. I think Scott has touched upon something that hits us all, You want this society to be somewhere where you can raise your children, raise your family. What's the point of buying a house and creating such a beautiful thing as your family in an environment that is made to destroy it? And unfortunately, that's something that we're faced with, the destruction of the family unit. And that's why it's very important that the grassroots campaigns from everybody here is heard. We can't count on other people to just take care of it. We gotta start it, and we gotta start it here, and we gotta start it now. And I'm very confident that a lot of the people, actually all of the people in this room, are ready to fight and get it done. So, with that said, our next person up. So for our next patron, this is Annette Parker. Please come on to the stage, candidate for the Will County Board for Homer Township 324.
All right. Hello, everybody. I know there's a lot of speakers here, so I'm going to try to keep it short, but I did bring some notes up here, so bear with me here. My name is Annette Parker, and I am currently on the Will County Board with Steve Balich. Steve has always represented this area well, and now that I've been redistricted, I will be representing a lot more of this area along with him. So once he's reelected, and hopefully I'm reelected, we will be your new Will County Board members. Let's see here. The primary is 6 days away, and we all understand the importance of this election, which is why we are all here. However, we need to go out there and make everybody else out there understand the importance. We need to get out there and go vote for this election. High gas prices, increased cost of foods, inflation on the rise has to stop. And now is our time to take control, not only of the Will County Board, but take control of the craziness that is going on in this country. Steve Balich, everyone here knows Steve. However, Steve makes people think. Yes. Steve calls people out. And Steve fights for what is right, which is why he needs to do that. All you need to do is drive your neighbors to the polls. Get them out to vote because we need to get Steve Balich reelected to Loya County Board so he can then continue to fight for all of you, continue to fight for everybody here in Loya County, and continue to fight in the hunger.
Yeah. Thank you, Ruben. So that says also something very key. So I don't know anybody here, but if I've ever needed an attorney or somebody to represent me, I want somebody tough. I want somebody with the heart of a tiger. Somebody that's going to show up and say, no, you're wrong. That's not how it is. This is how it's got to be. And that's what we have here in Steve Balich. A lot of people, I don't want to mention a few candidates, but I don't see that in them. Steve's been doing this for what? Steve, we've been doing this for what, 10 years? 10 years. A lot of years. Absolutely. And the one guy that you can guarantee that's always causing trouble at the Loya County Board, who's that guy yelling and screaming over there? Steve. Why? Because this is the town he lives in. You know, a lot of the stuff that you see out there, Steve this, Steve that, yeah. Is he the most polished person? Polish? I don't need polish. Polish for my shoes. What I need a guy that's going to go up there and say, go to hell, you're wrong. He's representing his district, and that's why we need him. And we need to keep Steve there until he decides he's got to retire, which is no time soon. But we need to represent Steve, and you know what? We got your back. And you got a good guy beside you, Anthony Granata. Everybody give it up for Anthony. Anthony is an up-and-comer, and we know that he's shown the right way. He fights right just as hard as you, if not more. God bless him. All right. So our next superstar, Mr. Jeff Regnier, candidate for the 1st Congressional District. Please come up. Come on up, Jeff. Jeff owns Keys Firearms out in Mokina. Newland, sorry. So if you need an AR, you go there.
How is everybody doing? Thanks for coming out and supporting the Republican Party. Everybody out here, a lot of people know me. We've been out campaigning for a long time, so if you don't know me, come and see me. I'll be sitting at the bar over there. They give me 3 minutes, so 3 minutes is not enough time to talk about what we have problems with the United States government and how we're going to correct those issues. So, I'm trying to make it as short as I can. A little bit about myself. I always say it. My father was a cop. My brother's a police. I got another brother's fire, all in the city. I was born and raised in the city. I got 6 kids, ages 8 to 24. I moved out to Will County 10 years ago to utilize the high schools. I'm a business owner. I own a construction company. We build park, schools, bridges, and streets. And I own Key Firearms and Training. We're the largest stocking dealer in the Midwest. So as a freedom fighter, you can imagine the past 2 years we've been fighting mask mandates and stay-at-home orders, close your businesses down, vaccine requirement. And we've been a big advocate against none of that. In the past 2 weeks, a lot of people don't know, we've been fighting as the Biden administration, specifically for firearms. They've been weaponizing the ATF, and they have a zero tolerance policy. They've been going after the banks. In the past 6 months, we've lost 2 banks that told us that we need to remove our businesses because we sell firearms. So how do you do business without banks? So the Biden administration specifically is trying to do gun control through the back door by ruining FFLs, creating banking issues where you can't bank. So there's a challenge. So we're currently on the fight with that, with the Illinois Rifle Association, the NRA, National Shooting Sports. We're all trying to band together because it's coming to a theater near you. It's not just us. It's going to be every gun store in America that they're fighting. They're fighting against these firearm parts specifically. They're fighting against specific ARs. They want to ban them. Magazine capacities, they're trying to ban those. They're not going to get these things through the normal channels of Congress, so they're going through backdoors to limit our Second Amendment and how we own rifles and firearms in general. So it's a big argument that we have. Moving forward on that, what we see firsthand that everybody can contest to is inflation. Inflation is at an all-time high. They say it's 8.5%, but we all go to the gas station. The gas ain't 8.5% more. It's more like 3,000% more, it seems like. You know, our food is 3,000 times more. It's not just 8.5%. So where do they get these numbers from? But how do we control that? Inflation is based off of what the government spends. It's not what we spend, it's how the government spends, because we're spending money at an enormous rate that we don't have. And we're borrowing it from China in order to send it to Ukraine, and then the taxpayers are paying for it. I mean, what are we doing in this situation? You know, we can't afford to fight a war in Ukraine. So how do we change that environment, right? We look at our manufacturing, where we have, a lot of people don't realize it's a national security. And why do I say it's security? We have a shortage from pizzas to pipes and constructions and baby formula, but take that aside, computer chips. We have a shortage of computer chips. We can't buy cars, we can't get computers. How do we get drones to fly? How do we get Tomahawk missiles when we get into wars? How do we get communications to our soldiers on the ground floor? How do we do this if we don't have computer chips? How can we allow the greatest country in the world not to have a manufacturing plant that makes computer chips? This is essential in this day and age. And a lot of people don't pay attention to that. But it's actually a national security issue. So this is why I'm running, because America needs real leaders. They need people to jump in. They need people that are not bought by anybody. They need people that think outside the box and are able to come up with real ideas in order to make the government work. And it's the time, right now, is the best time. It's no time but to invest in American businesses. We need to bring manufacturing home. We need to bring businesses back to Illinois, really, but America, no doubt. We need to invest in American businesses, not other countries' businesses. We need to invest in Americans, and we need to invest in our children so that they have a future in America. So for that, I thank everybody for coming. Pope Jeff Regnier, June 28th. Have a great night.
Thank you, Jeff. Jeff Regnier. All right, so I just got a news bulletin for you. Thanks, Annette Parker. She just came and told me. So on the next election ballot in November, keep in mind that there's a referendum for a new tax. Yeah, and guess who sponsored it? The Democrats. Why? Because we don't pay enough taxes, right? So, 0 Republicans sponsored it or backed it, and it's all the Democrats that are pushing them great taxes on. So y'all, you know, tax, no, right? Okay, so thank you then for bringing that to our attention. Next up, the Cookie Man. Is he here? Oh, you're not here? Oh, she's not here? Okay, she's here. I like her. Next up, the fabulous, the smart, the wonderful Mrs. Raquel Mitchell, candidate, Will County Board, District 1.
Okay. So, it's been a crazy week for me. Sunday, my little Boston Terrier Lulu got into some rat poison. I didn't know that. And then later on, she was hit by a car. So I spent Sunday evening in the vet emergency room watching my dollars fly away. And they encouraged me, or they gave me, they said whether or not I want to put my little dog down. I'm like, absolutely not. As long as she's fighting, I'm fighting. So we're not putting Illinois down. As long as Illinoisans are fighting, we're fighting. Right? As long as the residents and citizens and taxpayers in Will County are fighting, we're fighting. When I first got on the board, Mike Frizzalone said to me, oh no, we have another state ballot. I don't like those stinking socialists either. I'm happy to be here to support my fabulous, wonderful ex-husband, Steve Balich. Long story, you'll have to explain it to you. along with Julie Berkowitz, who's here, wherever you are. Julie, raise your hand, it's great. We're always fighting. Julie Berkowitz, Annette, all of us, we are constantly on the Democrats. They have no choice but to hear us out. We will be heard, that's for sure. I want you to know that. Now, I was sabotaged by my ex-husband, Steve Balich. I'm gonna do this while I'm here. Because I said, I came here to sing this anthem, and they're like, oh, we got music. I'm like, I wasn't prepared for that, obviously. So we're gonna do this. As the storm clouds scatter far across the sea, let us pledge allegiance to a land that's free. Let us all be grateful for a land so fair as we raise our voices in a solemn prayer. God bless America. Thank you. Land that I love, stand beside her and guide her to the night with the lights from above. Sing out. From the mountains, this is your country, through the valleys, through the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. Thank you very much. Homer 1, Raquel Mitchell.
Wow, Steve, have you ever had an ex singing? Awesome. First time you really got it. All right. Next up, Mr. Frankie Pretzel, candidate for Wilton. He's not here? No? No, Pretzel? No. All right, never mind. Mrs. Judy Ogala, candidate for Will County Board. Where's Judy? I love Judy. She's not here either? Maybe she's with Frankie. All right. I know this guy here, Mr. Dan Brady, candidate for Illinois Secretary of State. Dan, come on now.
Thank you very much. Great to be with you this evening. I can tell I'm not in Springfield as representative because you're actually clapping for me and you have no idea what I've said. Thank you very much, Fed. It's indeed my pleasure to be here. And Scott, if you're impressed with the nail file, I have 6,000 more in the trunk. If you want to really impress your wife, we can help you out. I'm running for Secretary of State. I'm State Representative Dan Brady, Wilmington, Illinois. And I'm not running for this office because I was recruited for it or as part of the slate. I'm not. I'm running for the office because I aspire to the office. It's an office for my days in county government. This county corner work very closely with the Secretary of State's office. It's an office of state representative that I have passed legislation with when it deals with organization donation in the state, distracted driving issues in the state, insurance issues in the state, and defensive driving courses for our seniors to help them. I work with Secretary Jesse White. Jesse White's retired. And ladies and gentlemen, this is an office not about public policy. In fact, if I'm the only one up here tonight, it's not talking about public policy, I'm talking about public service and how we're going to improve service. If you go to votedanbrady.com, you'll learn more about me and my ideas. But to break it down very briefly, one, it's that service. And most people obviously know this office with the driver services. This office does much more. This office touches more lives on a daily basis in Illinois than any other executive branch office. And yet, it's the only office where there's not an incumbent Democrat seeking re-election. I crisscross the state, and I hear from the voters. Right? Ideas are resonating for something that's a new concept. taxpayer service, improved taxpayer service. You shouldn't have to give up your whole Saturday to do something to drive yourself to pay taxes. I want to look at ways to streamline, obviously, cut those wait times, and be better at what the office does, from its own police force to filing business articles in the corporation, titles that are backlogged for 6 weeks or longer for trucks and cars and trying to get lien holders. And the list goes on what this office does. The office has a limited role in elections. Elections, the employees, and integrity improve. There's not going to be anybody that works any harder on your behalf. There's not going to be anybody more engaged. And there's not going to be anybody that's just going to have a picture hanging out at the wall of the facility. If you become Secretary of State, you'll see me at the facility serving you. That's what the concept is. In closing, Steve and Anthony had the pleasure of being here tonight and wish you the best. Steve and I had the pleasure of being along the campaign trail some time ago. And we were in Southern Illinois and said, we're going to turn around. We're going to make it up here tonight in Will County to be with my good friend Steve Dutch. And we're going to get you reelected onto the next stage of things, because you, sir, and your colleague Anthony, is what public service is all about. You don't just talk about it. You eat, live, and breathe it. And to you, thank you. I wish I could vote for you, but I can't. So Godspeed. Thank you for having me here tonight. Thank you for the opportunity to say hello, ladies and gentlemen. And I certainly ask for your vote. God bless you all. Have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate you coming on. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, a very fabulous lady that I had the pleasure of meeting at the Southland Black Chamber of Commerce event that we had. When was that? Tuesday? Sunday. Which, by the way, I got a small story to say just to let you know the type of person that Steve is. So Steve accepted an award for outstanding Will County board member. Will County board member. Oh, Cook too. All right. He took 2 counties and got the award. All right. Yeah. Oh my God. So he goes up there, and Steve, you know, Steve is Steve. Everybody loves him. He says what he's got to say. He doesn't really give a damn what anybody says, and that's why we love him. So he goes up there, and he starts saying what he's saying. All of a sudden, he's socialist Democrats, you got to beat them. And I'm just thinking 90% of this room is Democrats, Steve. So I'm waiting for all kinds of backlash and whatever. And I hear a lady in back of me saying, I like this guy. So you know what? At the end of the day, Steve Balich resonates with everyone. Yes. Democrat, Republican. At the end of the day, what? No taxes. He's a tax slayer. Everybody can relate to that. That's just a little nasty. I mean, it's a true story. I didn't make it up, I swear. But Kathi, you were there on my line. You're a witness. Thank God. So with that said, I'd like to introduce everyone tonight. Mrs. Kathi Salvi, candidate for U.S. Senate. Everybody give it up. You have my table.
Ruben, thank you so much. And you were so right about Sunday night. People have asked me, who do you want to model your candidacy after in your election? And I say, I am going to be a citizen senator. My principal residence will be in the state of Illinois, where I was raised and where I raised my family. But if you ask for a little bit what they're in store in Washington, just look at Steve Balich. And it was wonderful. Thank you, John, for putting this together. Thank you. And for your faith, too, in Homer Glen. When people say you can't raise a business and have this beautiful restaurant here, look what's happened, right? Look at the energy in this crowd. Thank you so much. Right, Ruben? So, I'll tell you, you are looking at the woman who will lead the Republican ticket at the top and bring the entire Republican team home and defeat Tammy Duckworth in November, to be sure. Thank you, Homer Glen, for endorsing Kathi Salvi for U.S. Senate. It begins here. I am on what we call the Land of Lincoln Opportunity Tour. And I started Monday, I think at 5 in the morning, and we have been nonstop. phenomenal. So far, by the end of this, I will have been to all 102 counties, not just 26 years ago, but here. But I'll tell you, I have seen people, regular folks, people of goodwill coming out of the woodwork because they don't like what their kids are learning or not learning. They don't like what their children are being indoctrinated to learn, what they're talking about on the playground, what they're seeing on the television. Who would have ever thought Disney has gone off the rails, right? And we need a U.S. Senator who's going to go, maybe not pass the legislation, but wake people up, have a spine and a backbone. And I am that person to bring the whole Republican ticket, or lead the Republican ticket and bring it home. So I'll just tell you this. I am a committed conservative Republican, always have been. I've been a candidate for 3 months, but I will lead as I have lived. And I believe in Illinois. I know Illinois. And I believe I am Illinois, a 7th generation Illinoisan. And I will tell you, I will work to go from the top of the state down and defend the principles that we stand for. And I have people like Steve to keep me in line. So Steve, thank you for inviting me here today. And we will lead together, sir, won't we? And Anthony, you too. So thank you. Remember the name, Kathi, Salvi, U.S. Senate, and I appreciate all of you getting out and bringing about the support. Thank you.
Give it up, Kathi, Salvi, everyone. Listen. All right. Let's see. I got like 1,000 papers up there. All right. So, remember, life is all about the yin and yang. Steve, you're the yin, and guess who's the yang? Go, me. I'm the yin. Well, for now, for these purposes, Mr. Anthony Granata, the yang and the yin. Come on, give it up. You guys can do better than that. Take the foot out of your mouth, put the drink down. Give this guy an applause. This is not easy. There you go.
Thank you very much. So you're probably wondering how a 31-year-old Italian kid got to this point to be able to run Steve Balich for county board. And I just wanted to tell you a little bit. When I was 19 years old, I saw that my local park district, they put out a survey, and they said, what do you want us to do? And the survey came back and it was all this kind of, we want this, we want that, and the other, and the park district says, well, in order to do that, we're going to have to tax it, we're going to have to raise the levy. And I said, no. I said, there's got to be a way we can do this without taxing people out of their homes. So I said, at 19 years old, I'm going to run for this board. I'm going to run for this board against a 56-year-old incumbent who had been there for 2 terms. And I ran, and I won. At 19 years old, I became a park commissioner, and I won that seat. And I said, we're going to do this, and we're not going to raise the levy. We're going to manage our budget, we're going to manage our debt, and there are things we can do, and we don't have to tax the crap out of people. And that's what we did. And so anybody who tells you that they're going to get into office and they have, oh, you want this and that, we're going to have to raise your taxes. It's a bunch of bull. It's not going to happen. You don't have to do it. You know what you do? Just the way that all of you manage your finances at home, that's what the government can do. And I promise you they can do it. I promise you they can manage finances and make things work without having to tax you out of your home to give you what you want. I was 19, I served 2 years on that board. Then I said, okay, I don't have time for this anymore. Not that I didn't have time, but I wanted to make some money. So I decided to go on and work for some political campaigns. I worked for a company called Action Strategies. We traveled all over the country and we fought for conservative values all over the country. And when I came back home after the last primary was over in 2018, I saw that the circuit clerk's race, this is now 2020, the circuit clerk's race had no Republican candidate. And I looked and I said, this circuit clerk is probably one of the most corrupt circuit clerks we've ever seen in the state of Illinois. We cannot go without having a Republican challenger to her. So I petitioned the party and I said, I'll do it. I'll run against her. We lost, but we fared very well against, I was 29 years old, I was barely funded, it was a last minute race, and we did very well against a corrupt circuit clerk. Then come to 2021. Steve and I, this is another thing about Steve and I. We fight for conservatives whether we're on the ballot or not. Because it doesn't matter if we have skin in the game. You know what our skin in the game is? Our community. That's what our skin in the game is. It doesn't matter if we're on the ballot or if we're not on the ballot. We need good conservative values in our communities, regardless if me and him are going to get elected or not. And in 2021, I started an ad campaign against one of the most liberal school board candidates you've ever seen in your life, who was also the chairman of the Franklin Township Democrats. She wanted to become a legal way school board. She wanted to mask kids. She wanted to take choice away. And I said, absolutely not. This is not going to happen. So we put out an ad campaign against her. She lost. Not only did she lose, but she was so embarrassed by the campaign we put out against her, she resigned as the chairman of the Democratic Party. So I think that's a real big win for conservatives. Then come 2022, and we were being redistricted, and I had already announced that I was going to run for a seat on the county board, and then when I found out that we were redistricted into the 4th district, I told people privately, you know, I'm not going to primary Steve Balich. He's one of the most conservative activists, the best conservative activist locally that I've ever seen. And I'm not going to primary Steve Balich. So then I get a call on my phone after I had told people privately I wasn't going to see the office anymore, and it was Steve Balich. And to be honest with you, I said, oh shit. and it was Steve on the other line, and he says, you know, Tony, I want you to run with me for county board. And I said, oh, okay, I'm listening. And if anybody knows Steve, you don't say no to Steve Balich. That's not something you do. So he said, would you run with me for county board? And I said, you know, this is one of the most conservative guys I've ever met. His pinky ring is glistening in the light as he speaks, and that got me right there. I said, we have so much in common. We both want to fight for the same things. I will run for county board with Steve Balich, and that's why I'm here right now, and that's why I'm asking for your vote on June 28th. Now, I want to give you a synopsis here. If the Democratic Party had committeemen who were supporting Republicans, and I put that in quotes, Republicans, in the June 28th primary, how many of you people would be inclined to vote for them? No way. Mr. Chairman, I would like to state for the record, I see no hands up. Our opponents have been endorsed by 2 Democratic committeemen. Steve and I have been endorsed by Illinois Patriots, grassroots conservative organizations. We've been endorsed by Safe Suburbs, USA PAC, who is a pro-police organization. Our opponent voted to fire a 30-year veteran of the police department. In 2020, he was fired for no reason. Recently, a judge had him reinstated. Our opponent voted to fire him and take away his pension, his benefits, his salary, everything. Almost ruined this man's career. So for them to say they support the police, it's bold. We've been endorsed by the pro-police organizations. Please, on June 28th, vote. Your first 2 on the ballot. Stephen Balich, Anthony D. Granata Jr. Thank you very much.
You know, you'll see a lot out there, oh, Anthony Granata, he's too young. Well, guys, guess what? We have to embrace the youth. These are the people that are our future. So what good is it to have somebody twice or 3 times his age that's an establishment person accepting money from people that are absolute establishment? These are ground roots people, Anthony Granata, Steve Balich, and these are the people we gotta back. No matter what the big money people back. You gotta look at common sense. Common sense says family, God, lower taxes. You know, money's not everything. I know it's hard to say, but yeah, money is not everything. We gotta look at common sense, right? A lot of I wish I could get $50 million put into my campaign. Steve, I'm sure you could too, right? That doesn't mean it's right. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I know I'm going to catch y'all. But anyway, so we have another person coming up. a lovely Homer Glen Village trustee who wanted to say something. Mrs. Rose Reynders. Please come up to the stage.
Good evening, everyone. Most of you know me as the owner of Taza Italian Restaurante, but I'm also a trustee in the village of Homer Glen. I'm here tonight to tell you a little story about Steve and myself. We have known each other since we were kids. We lived on the same block. And unbeknownst to me, Steve had a crush on me from the time we were kids. I never knew it. Never knew it. I don't know how many boyfriends I went through and still never knew that Steve was in love with me. So tonight I wanted to just give my support behind Steve. He's a great guy. He has worked effortlessly and tirelessly for this community and for the districts that he's in, and for all of the efforts that he has made for all of the projects and all of the causes that he supports. I am here tonight to endorse Steve Balich and Anthony Granata for Will County Board of District 4. Steve, I love you. Finally, you're doing I love you out of me. Thank you.
And I know I speak for Trustee Dan Fialco, Trustee Jennifer Consolino.
Yes, you do.
Absolutely, and Trustee Nicola Haas. We also endorse Steve Balich for Will County Board. All right. Well, since we're giving stories about Steve, I'm really going to what about the township trustee? Well, you guys better endorse them. And Mike Bonomo endorses Steve Balich. So I've been in this business here for 10 years. Ruby guy, I'll never forget, 2012. I was told I was crazy. You're gonna open what? Where? I'm gonna open a Latin fusion restaurant in Homer Glen. You're out of your mind. But guess what? I've been told I was out of my mind for getting into politics. I think I'm doing pretty damn good. I was told that because of my last name, I'll never make it. Could you imagine that? But anyway, here we are. So with that said, the man of the hour, Mr. Steve Balich.
I'm standing up here and I look at the crowd and you hear all this good stuff about it. It only happens very rare. Most of the time I'm called bad names. You know, bum, get the hell out of here, you name it, that's what I get. But you know, my co-chair with me for the Republican Party knows how to do it right. Everybody in this room got to know something. When they were talking about Sunday, when I got Ward Prosecuting County Board member from Cook and Will from the Black Chamber. Well, I was at the county board meeting and I get up at the end of the meeting and I said, I'm getting this award. And they're all the Democrats' mousetrap. And not Democrats, the Democrats told me, the socialists, which is 12 of them. So they're like, oh. And I said, now you can't call me a racist no more. And I smiled. But that's the kind of junk that goes on over here. They decided to make a new tax that Ruben talked about before. So here's the deal. They create the crisis of gas problems with all their stupid policies. Then they turn around and say, we got a problem, we can fix it by cutting a couple cents off the gas tax. So you create a problem and then try to fix the problem because you know what the problem is, your stupid tax that you shouldn't have did to begin with. That ain't the answer. These people have no clue what the hell they're doing anymore. All they do is whatever they think is going to benefit them and their stupid group. Those socialists need to be deported to friggin' Venezuela. but that's the truth. Now, when Anthony was talking, he's right. I know him for a while, I watch him. Me and Ruben threw a fundraiser for him here. You know what? I like him because he reminded him and me like when I was a young guy. The only difference was he doesn't fist fight. You know, when I grew up, that's what you did. Someone says something you didn't like, you popped them one. And I'd like to do it now. I'm a little old and I don't want to go to jail. So now I use my mouth. So at the last county board meeting, they had a thing for celebration of pride. And so I'm thinking about it. Do I want to vote for a proclamation for pride? And I'm thinking, do I say anything or what do I do? So I decided to vote for it and then tell everybody why. And then give them some crap. So I said, I voted yes to that pride deal. And the only reason is because I probably got a whole bunch of people that are gays or lesbians or whatever that are friends of mine. And I don't even know because the people I know don't walk around and talk about it. We don't care about what kind of sex you is. Right? Anybody in here care about what people do behind the closed doors of their bedrooms? No. And normal people don't walk around and say stuff like that. So I said, you guys put me in a box. And I ain't going to be put in a box. And if you do it again, we're going to start with social things on the conservative side. Like the 5 months that I spent fighting against killing babies born alive. And when we finally got to the end, and I said, who's in favor of killing babies born alive? And the Democrats all ran out the room because they didn't want to say they were in favor of it. But all the Republicans were against it. And I got that on video. I can't wait to the next you're going to see all the stuff that's on video with them morons. And the sad thing is, the Democratic Party is now morphed into the Republican Party because there's no room for them with them idiot people that are called socialists. So there's 14 Democrats on the county board, 12 socialists, 2 normals. I get along with the normals. It's hard to believe that I can say I like some 2 of the Democrats. The other ones, they just made me sick. I look at them and I want to really, sometimes I look and I think to myself, don't throw up in front of them. They talk and I just want to die. No, I can't stand it. No, God made us for one purpose, to get out and enjoy life and have a good time and have lots of friends and do the best you can to help other people. What do socialists want? They want to dig in my wall. They want to take a little bit of money I got in my friggin' pocket out of my pocket. They want to say that a weirdo that dresses up like a person that isn't the same gender, so how do you say it without swearing? I gotta shut up. I ain't gonna go there. And you know what I'm saying? You go to a library, you got little kids looking at these things, you know, and they got a show. Oh, what's going on? You go to school and you're talking about cartoon books that are like pornography books for kindergarten kids. You know, how the hell did this happen? You know how all this goes down? It's the people we elect are too chicken crap, I didn't say the word, to go out and say no. And that's what we all got to do. All of us elected people got to stand up and say no more. And just say no more and really vote that way and scream at them and yell at them and do whatever it takes to stop them and embarrass them. Because I found out something. I can't fist fight no more, but I can sure fight with my friggin' mouth. It really gets me. In Homer Township here, a lot of people live here, a lot of them live in Cook and all around the place. But in Homer Homer Township, the Socialist Democrat Party joins up with the people that we beat in the last election. So now you've got Republicans and Democrats joining up to beat me. So I said to myself, what am I going to do? Am I going to roll over and die? Or am I going to punch him in the mouth? What am I going to do? Well, I figured out what I'm going to do. It took me about 10 seconds. I decided that anybody that's associated with any of them people are my enemy. And I will do whatever it takes to destroy them. I'm in it to win. I'm not in it to appease lousy people or bend down so they can kick me. If they beat me, God bless them. But they're going to have a hell of a fight during and after, because I don't forget. I'm old Sicilian. And Rosie will tell you, and you know what? Mike Bonomo will tell you, when we declare a vendetta, we mean it. And those people, the Republicans mostly, because I expect the socialists to hate me, but I don't expect the Republicans to join forces with socialists. I want to tell you something. I'm out there by myself because when I grow up, we learn that you go out and do the work. You don't depend on nobody. You got to do it. So I'm out putting signs up in the rain, and I'm drenched, and I'm not having too good of a day. I hit my hand with an axe, I missed the pole, and so one of my friends, Jay Rody, drives by and said, "What the hell are you doing?" And I said, "I'm putting up signs. Somebody got to do it, right?" He goes, "Well, help me." So we put up a couple more signs in the rain. And he didn't say, "Well, go home, we'll do it tomorrow." He says, "Well, do the ones you were going to do." Thank you, Jay. And I don't know who saw it, but I was on one of them steep hills, like with a big giant incline. And I'm walking down, and I lost my balance, and I went flying, tumbling down. Somebody saw it. They called up my son. And called up my daughter. And now my kids are yelling at me, "What the hell's wrong with you?" And I'm like, someone's got to do it. So then I get a call from Ruben. And Ruben says, "What are you doing?" And I says, "I'm doing what I got to do to win." And he goes, "Well, why are you doing it by yourself?" And I said, "Because that's how I grow up. I don't do it myself. I go fight my own fights. I don't ask for help. I go do it." And he goes, "No, we're going to help." So Ruben puts together a crew. And I don't do the signs now. Ruben's got it covered. So I want to thank Ruben, Rosie, Mike Bonomo, the Rosie family, the Clausen family, the Shake family, Jennifer Consolino, Anthony Alco, and Carmen Morello. They came up and said, "All right, you've got enough lifting, we're going to do it for you now. Just concentrate on winning with your mouth." So that's what I want to do. But it also taught me a lesson. Just think about this. I grew up in a tough neighborhood, and I was fighting all the time. Then my old man moved to Stoke One. I go to school with a garlic necklace on. Right? How do you think I was fighting all the time? I grow up and I go, "Why did they hate me?" They thought I was a weirdo. That's why. But I fought, so I got pretty good at it, But there's a time in your life when you've got to open up your brain a little bit, and you got to say, "Thank you for all the people that help. Thank you for all the people that come to the fundraiser. Thank you for everybody that does whatever you're doing to help me win." Because without people, it's useless. Because you win, if you don't have people to benefit, what good is it? And you guys are all the people. And you know what? I promise you, I never am afraid of nothing. Never. I stand up, if I'm the only one in the room, I will stand there and pray about it. I do not care. I've been like that all my life, and now I'm worse. And you know what? Father Tom, you guys heard him talk, right? He talked one day, and I go, now I know where I got it from. He said that God don't want me to be afraid. So guess what? I'm doing what God wants. I ain't afraid of nobody. You know, and the girl who works for me in the back over there, she says, don't swear. And I didn't swear. She says prayers for me every freaking day, so I don't swear. But anyway, thank you all for coming out. God bless you.
Mr. Steve Balich. All right, so before there was one person that I'm going to introduce one more person that's going to come up to the stage, but before I do that, I just want to reiterate. Number one, Steve, and I'm sure that I can speak, I can resonate for absolutely everybody in this room. We promise we will not ever let you fail. You're going to take that seat on the 28th. We're all going to be there. We're going to get everybody we know there to vote for you. And Anthony Granata. You know why? Because we need you. Thank you, Steve. All right. So next up, we have Mr. David Shestokas running for General, State of Illinois. This is my honor.
Ruben, thank you, but I have no idea where in the hell I should follow Steve. Following Steve is not something I possibly want to do. This is a huge challenge. At any rate, as Ruben said, I'm Dave Shestokas. I'm running for Illinois Attorney General. I've been doing it about a year. And I think I'm making progress because these days, most of the time I go places, people can say Shestokas. You did it perfectly. And that's a challenge because people have, when I started doing this, people were screwing up Shestokas all the time, and then I had all these bits I could go into about how Steve Bannon used to call me Shestokas, you know, and how I used to introduce myself in a magic show when I was a kid, Hocus Pocus, the great Shestokas. You know, we give people that, yeah, it's catchy. But in any event, yeah, we're here, I'm running for Attorney General. Simple slogan, we want to make crime illegal again. Thank you, Homer Township, for your endorsement. And Plainfield Township, I know Dale is here, thank you so much. And Raquel's still on. Thank you, Wheatland Township, for your endorsements for my campaign as Attorney General. I will tell you, I spend a lot of time usually explaining the office of the Attorney General to people. I think most of you've heard that before, so I'm not going to talk about that. What I'm going to talk about is I've been endorsed by Illinois Family Action. I've been endorsed by Illinois Right to Life. I've been endorsed by the Illinois Latino Pastors Association. I've been endorsed by the Illinois Polish American Congress Illinois Division. Between and among those groups, there are about 150,000 members. And if each one of those members brings 2 people to the polls, I will be the Republican nominee for Illinois Attorney General. So a lot of things happened here. I just think that I met Steve about 10 years ago when he was, I think you were doing something for Americans for Prosperity at the time. And he had a movie showing of Ayn Rand, Ayn Rand Atlas Shrugged. And it was in a little place in Lockport, a little office thing in Lockport. I saw an advertisement for that, and I went and I watched Atlas Shrugged. I'd never seen it before. But Steve's been in the trenches for many, many years, and building things, and you see that come into fruition. So I'm so happy that part of what I'm doing in terms of making crime illegal again, we're going to have the benefit of some of the hard work that Steve's done in the vineyards over that period of time. And a couple of things. The Illinois Attorney General right now has been prosecuting cases against the citizens. We're going to get them off the backs of the citizens, and then we're going to start prosecuting crimes that Kim Fox does not prosecute. And then Eric Reinhardt doesn't prosecute. There's a whole lot of things I did during the course of the pandemic. I did in fact file a suit on behalf of the church in Morris County, and we got Grundy County in Morris, Illinois. We got the church open. We defended religious liberty. I am literally the only pro-life candidate on the ticket for Attorney General. And I will tell you that assuming the Supreme Court acts the way we expect them to act in rolling back Roe versus Wade, there'll be a lot of litigation, and I will be in a position to determine the position of the state of Illinois when it comes to right to life in the court system. So there's a lot of things we can do. Thank you, Steve, for letting me share your podium tonight. Dave Shestokas, if you got Shestokas, a much better announcer than I am. Illinois Attorney General. I need all your help all across the state. If you're not going to the president's event, I and many others are going there, but I have some friends in Real America Voice who says I'm going to be able to come up on their platform with those folks, and I'll be doing some commentary with Real America's Voice on the president's rally. So if you're watching the president's rally, look for my 5 or 10 minutes of fame. Thank you so much.
Mr. Dave Shestokas, Attorney General. That's the man making crime illegal again. All right, so just so everybody, I know a lot of people spoke, but there was, we didn't mention, or perhaps he did, HTRO endorsements, Homer Township Republican Organization endorsements. So remember this, write it down, record it, make a note in your phone. Kathi Salvi for Senator. HTRO endorsement. We have Brady endorsed by the HTRO. Tony Granata, Steve Balich endorsed by the HTRO. Mr. Jeff Tuminello for Judge endorsed by the HTRO. And Mr. DeWilkins endorsed for Judge for the HTRO. And, good friend of mine, Mr. Jeff Regnier endorsed by the HTRO for Congress. All right, okay. So I know everybody wants to mingle and drink and get into all that. So before we get into that, we're almost there. Let me go over a few of the elected officials that came today and a few of the candidates. So this will be quick. So if everybody wants to applaud nicely for everybody, just keep in mind, everybody, when you're running for office, it's not easy. Let me tell you, I came from a restaurant environment where your sole purpose in life is for everybody to love you, right? When you're in politics, that doesn't happen. I'll never forget when I won, they took us to a new candidates, it was like something for new candidates so you don't break the law, right? So you gotta go, and it was at Bolingbrook Golf Course. And guess who was conducting the meeting? Roger Clare. And one of the main things that he said when he's sitting there, he's just looking at us, down on us like this, he's saying, man, you got no what you're in for. To get into this business, you have to have thick skin. You have to believe in what you do and not give a damn about the naysayers. You got to care about your mission in life and why you're doing it. Which is why I got into this. Because I felt that we needed a voice that was wasn't heard by anybody else, guess what? I need to be that voice, right? So, with that said, and the reason I'm even getting into all of that, I want a really good applause for a lot of these candidates that have come up and a lot of these elected officials, because it is not easy to do what we do, okay? So here we go. First of all, we want to announce the elected officials that have come in today. Mrs. Reynders, Village Trustee, Homer Glen. Michael Bonomo, Township Trustee for Homer Township. Mr. Keith Ogo, Mayor of Frankfurt. Myself, Ruben, Pazmino, Village Trustee, if I don't do it, nobody else will, right? Mr. Brent Porphyria, Homer Township Highway Commissioner. God bless you, keeping the roads clean and salty. Jennifer Consolino, Trustee of the Village of Homer. Jean Kelly, Village of Bolingbrook. Welcome to Homer Glen. Christina Nishki-Troiki, Village Clerk, Homer Glen. And I just got a report, Tim Ozinga, State Rep. Is he here? Where he is? All right, those are the village officials. Oh, that's all right. Now for these guys, they don't know what they're in for, but God bless them for the heart and the spirit that they put into this, because they're doing all this and they may win, they may not. But guess what? They're putting their heart into it and they're putting their money where their mouth is. And here we go. So, candidates running for Secretary of State, we already saw them. Dan Brady, give a warm applause for Dan Brady. Jeff Regnier, U.S. Congress, 1st District. Anthony Granata, County Board, 4th District. Steve Balich. Kathi, Salvi, U.S. Senate. Dave Shestokas, Attorney General. Art Smigelski, Baker Judge. Running for Associate Judge, candidate for Supreme Court. Donald Wilkins, Associate Judge. Serving Court, Scott Casper. Thanks for coming up, sir. Really appreciate it. When you make it big, don't forget about the little people. Raj Pai Pillai, Will County Treasurer, the guy with the money. That's the guy I know. Hey, look it up, buddy. Thank you, good. And Jeff Tumanello, Will County Circuit Judge. Thank you everybody for coming. Enjoy yourself, have a drink, have something to eat, and remember, we are the grassroots people. We make it happen because this is where it all starts. Thank you very much for coming.